family. Welcome back to Dark Woke, your direct link to all things politics, comedy, and culture. I am your host, Janaya Future Khan, champ yapper and frequent nuisance in the activist and comedy worlds. Let's get dialed in. But just before we jump, Dark Woke is a self-funded, self-produced show. We're on Patreon/Dark Woke. I am so grateful for all the support and for you just taking the time to listen. All right. You guys really stuck it through with me yesterday. It was very much a streaming session, more like a screaming session. But man, is the manosphere a weird place. But don't worry, I have a palate cleanser for you. Azealia Banks and J.K. Rowling are having a beef online. A beef, right? It's how I prefer to say it. A beef. So Azealia Banks called J.K. Rowling a hood rat. That's all I needed to hear. I needed that. And we got it. They gave the goods. She gave the goods. I'll say this. Another tidbit of good news. Chuck Schumer is under so much shit right now because he absolutely sold us and every person in America down the river, right? That's the minority leader. Finally, the Democrats had a position of leverage. And, he threw us under the bus. He sold us down the river, however you want to say it. But he's gotten so much backlash that the skin tag has postponed his book tour. And personally, right, I think the best use of Chuck Schumer's book, I think it can be environmental. His book should be used along with anything that Ayn Rand has written. And it should be used to plug up any oil spills along the Gulf of Mexico. Just make it useful because not a person in the world is reading that book. I am so ready for all of our folks, all the Democrats that know what is up and know what needs to happen. And there's more than a few, and we're going to get into a little bit of that today. Chuck Schumer needs to resign. He absolutely needs to resign. We're going to get into this is going to be a good time. I also just want to express gratitude. I read several of your comments today and the encouragement, I think, to just around transparency, and the encouragement around vulnerability. It's helpful for me because it's not my usual way. And I realize there's power in transparency in letting you all know what is happening. One person in particular, and all of the comments were really moving, but from a P. Armstrong, it really resonated with me in terms of just now you guys know what's happening for me. So, missed episodes, etc. now have a broader context, and that made a lot of sense to me. And it's that helps me get over my weird problems with vulnerability. Anyway, just wanted to say thank you for that. Now, I'm going to let a man who's almost as charming as I am. No, he's probably more. Jon Stewart, explain the context, right, for this budget bill, because it's the GOP's budget bill. So this is what happened over the weekend. And, that Media Matters report was very, very urgent, very pressing. And, I found something else out right before we get into this budget bill. The latest, greatest man thing, they're shaving their eyelashes. Look it up. To look more masculine, men are shaving their eyelashes down to nubs. Do you know that they have an evolutionary purpose for you? Were you guys aware of that? It's like having dirt and crust in your eyes is now manly. Fellas, is it gay to have clean eyes? What are we doing? What are we doing? Okay. Now, I'll give you a little of the good old Jon Stewart treatment as he goes in and breaks down how bad luck Chuck sold us down the river. I can't wait until he is out. Him and Hakeem Jeffries, all the establishment Dems, they're an absolute rot. This one is about to be hysterical. So if you're watching the video, I paused it at this moment when Jon Stewart's mouth is a literal perfect O. But I really want to emphasize the fact that whatever makes the GOP look bad, whenever we can put on display their absolute and utter ineptitude, we should take that opportunity to do so. The spending budget as it is horrific. And this clip does a great job of breaking that. To be clear, right? Schumer very clearly indicated that he would not, in fact, support this bill. What you heard, right? All those voices, that was a litany of Democrats who were like, absolutely not, hell no, this bill is atrocious. It undercuts medical research. It undercuts veterans' rights. It just, the list went on and on and on and on. And just as, for the first time in what feels like a very long time, the Democrats presented a united front, right? Which we need to see more of. This guy flip-flops. This was, I forgot I was on a podcast. This is me speechless and just disgusted. Like, what? This is a rot. He is an absolute root canal in the Democratic Party. That right there is so incredibly disingenuous. So much of this episode will cover, right? In all the ways that pretty much every episode does. But nobody here is in a great place right now, right? Unless you're extremely wealthy. And everybody stands to end up in a very worse place right now. This bill, right, makes people's life harder. This was a moment, right, in this moment, in this time, when the Americans, that some people, we know it's not everyone who voted for Donald Trump, etc., but there's some people who are realizing that they voted for the wrong guy, right? They have a bitter taste in their mouth for the Democrats for whatever reason. The feeling I have in my mouth for the Democrats right now is just, they're just canker sores. It's like I drank rancid orange juice and my mouth is just full of fucking canker sores. I don't even know how those happen or what they're made of. Where's wood for me to knock on it? You know what? Whatever. I'm trying to wrap my head around this because this was a moment to show strength, to say, we are fighting for these people that you are leaving behind. It was a moment to show strength and solidarity to us, to people who are ready for something different, something new, to people who know that this administration is not who they pretended to be. They ran on a campaign of transgenders and groceries. That's what they ran on, right? He said he was going to bring down inflation. He said that he was going to make groceries affordable. He said that he was going to fix every ailing thing in the system. Now all he can do is talk about some fucking auto pen that Biden was supposedly using. And of course, just starting a new onslaught of wars, and, we'll get into it. But why don't we hear what rationale Chuck has? Maybe we're just missing something. Maybe there's something that we're missing, and bad luck Chuck just has an ace up his sleeve that we have no idea. Yeah, that's where we're at. So for that reason, Chuck Schumer has decided that he was going to postpone his book tour. First of all, keep your ass in Congress. You know what? Better yet, resign. Nobody wants to read your fucking book. Nobody wants to see you. Nobody wants you around. Like, I'm stunned. But this has made the subset of Democrats that we've identified as players in this next, in this next term, and also in the fight ahead. They are clear that Chuck Schumer is an absolute fucking liability. He's a relic from a different time, right? And one that never really served us to begin with. So now that we kind of understand what happened there, I want to read a headline today. I couldn't believe what I read, especially considering what we talked about yesterday in terms of, this terminal uniqueness, this idea that there's a unique kind of oppression, or that my oppression is the most important oppression. And no one has ever experienced oppression like mine in the history of the world. You know, that thing that everybody seems to think is true to them, right? And I will always, in the moments where it counts, express empathy, right? Because sometimes all you need is just some acknowledgement. But this is not that. This was the headline in the Atlantic today. I was just, okay. Columbia University's anti-Semitism problem. If the bullying of Jewish students had happened to any other group, the institution would be appalled. You guys. The scream I scrumped when I read this earlier today. Dear Jeebus, please stop the brain bleed that is happening in my head while I try to comprehend this, to write this, right? To write this as Israel has once again violated the ceasefire. It's bombing Gaza as we speak. 320 Palestinians have been killed by renewed airstrikes by Israel. That's more deaths, right? To utter that phrase while permanent resident Mahmoud Khalil was stolen from his home by ICE while his 8-month pregnant wife watched in distress, powerless to stop it, right? He remains in a facility still, right? He was literally stolen, a graduate student, stolen by plainclothes ICE officers, right? Having committed no crime. To say this when a mere 3 days ago, the New York Times covered the harrowing ordeal of Ranjani Srinivasan, another Columbia student, right? Fulbright scholar. She had her student visa revoked and was forced to flee to Canada after ICE came looking for her. Why? Because they protested the world-recognized human rights violations perpetrated by Israel against the people of Palestine. In this America, to say that in this America, where protesting war is more punishable than war crimes, than perpetrating war crimes, right? In this America, where you can be disappeared in the middle of the night for demanding an end to airstrikes, but have a red carpet rolled out for you, right? With unlimited access to the treasury, should you be the one to commit it. In this America, you would say that. You would write that. If this kind of bullying had happened to any other population, right? Columbia wouldn't stand for it. Are you kidding me? You know, that anti-Semitism exists in this country and in the world. It's not up for debate, right? It's not up for debate. But to diminish the experience and the reality of anti-Semitism with antics like this, disgraceful. Yuck. You fucking raggedy bitch. I'm not even going to name the person who wrote that. You should be like, this is that need. This isn't happening to anybody else. And it's not, I'm not even talking. I mean, they literally just covered up that whole Black Lives Matter plaza in Washington, D.C., right? They're talking about pardoning Derek Chauvin, who murdered George Floyd in front of the entire world by kneeling on his neck for 8 minutes. It's what galvanized everybody to care about Black Lives Matter in the first place, even though it's been years since people have uttered it. It's incredible to me. It's incredible to me to do a disservice to something so real and to deny the experiences of other people. The bullying. What kind of fragile human beings are we cultivating when we continuously suggest that what you experience is unprecedented in the history of the world? What what purpose does it serve? It's I read it and something broke inside of my head. Like I felt it. Something fell off the shelf. You know, it's wild to me. It is wild to me. And of course, right? Well, let me pull up a clip that helps sort of illustrate what is going on. And again, to write this, when this, what I'm about to play for you, is the reality that we are currently living under, right? This is from Fox News. And, well, this is what remember, right before I hit play on this, remember that Donald Trump guaranteed that his administration would bring an end to the forever wars that America constantly finds itself in. I just, I think, I don't even know what my face is doing. I think I did an eye roll. I don't know, but I went somewhere else. I was transported. All right.
Well, the Trump administration and the White House were consulted by the Israelis on their attacks in Gaza tonight. And as President Trump has made it clear, Hamas, the Houthis, Iran, all those who seek to terrorize not just Israel, but also the United States of America will see a price to pay. All hell will break loose.
So are you going to recruit the depressive Gen Z into your little forever fucking wars? You're going to have a draft? How many vape pens and Zyn canisters are you going to need to get them to agree to that? What are we doing?
All of the terrorists in the Middle East, again, the Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas, Iranian-backed terror proxies, and Iran themselves should take President Trump very seriously when
they should all take President Trump very seriously. So Iran, the Houthis, Hamas, right? Palestinians, they're all just these like just buzzwords. And that these entities exist, there's no doubt about it, right? But the justification for the ceaseless murder of Palestinians, and particularly in Gaza, there is simply no justification for it. But this is not so much to point out the hypocrisy, right, of Donald Trump. I think we are so past that. But we're really living in a time where words mean, like whatever he says, it means nothing. It's not about hypocrisy, because hypocrisy is meant to reflect, your action, the contradictions back to the person. No, this is for us to truly internalize how dangerous this man is on every conceivable level. There is a profit motive guiding every single thing that this for-profit presidency and this for-profit administration does.
He says he is not afraid to stand for law-abiding people. He is not afraid to stand up for the United States of America and our friend and our ally Israel. And we know that these successful defensive strikes that took place over the weekend against the Houthis in the Red Sea were indeed successful. We took out some of their leaders, and the Defense Department is continued to
Doesn't it just sound like just lies? Anyway, this clip's about to be over.
To continue is set to continue with this campaign if the Houthis continue with their retaliatory measures. The president is going to stand for the navigation, freedom of navigation of our seas, which is a very basic principle that unfortunately the previous administration refused to stand for, and that's why we are in this mess in the Middle East in the first place. President Trump inherited a lot of problems, Sean, because of
Yeah. So it went from, Biden, they don't know what they're doing. We're going to come in here. We're going to clean it up. How much longer are they going to blame everything on Biden and on the Democrats when they literally have no power? We problematized the economy that the Democrats sort of presented to us during Kamala's run. But it was, relatively speaking, compared to now especially, a healthier economy, right? Trump is about to send us into a recession, and they keep downplaying that. So, oh shit, there's going to be a recession. Throw some bombs on them. That has been the presidential playbook for many a year.
Of the incompetence and the weakness of the Biden-Harris administration, but he is focused on fixing them, and our allies and our adversaries better take him seriously.
This is just, you know, I don't know. I don't have any words. I don't have any words. I'm just, you know, I guess we tack on 320 to 40, like, you know, upwards of 40,000 deaths now. And this was the end of the forever wars. But you won't hear that in the manosphere. I mean, I remember Joe Rogan and all these guys, they were like, these guys are going to end these forever wars. And how can you ever disparage a president that's committed to doing that? Our boys shouldn't have to, you know, endure these kinds of realities. But yeah, you're setting us up for endless wars, for the forever wars that you said that you were going to end. So this is like, this is it. And it's all for Israel. It's all for Israel, right? If you want to know, right, because I remember a few episodes ago, I played that clip where Robert Wolf was talking about a professor from Harvard. Which, by the way, I did read something interesting. Of course, it's twofold, but we know that there was major campaigns to end affirmative action, and that was heavily campaigned on by East Asian folks and white folks, but there was a huge East Asian contingent who felt like they were getting the short end of the stick. They went after affirmative action. They did not go after legacy hires. Legacy hires. What am I talking? Legacy admissions, which actually would have seen more, you know, a more equal spreading of resources. But there's always this idea that the people who have the least are the ones who are taking food or opportunities out of your mouth or out of your hands, and it's the oldest playbook in the book. It's the oldest play in the book. That's what happens when it gets late. It's the oldest play in the book. You know, but we also know that this administration has attacked affirmative action, DEI, et cetera. So one of the ways, different schools are responding differently, but one of the ways that Harvard is seeking to address it, I'm going to follow up, see what it looks like in a year. They have removed admission fees for households with incomes less than $200,000. Again, whoever accesses that is going to be few and far between, and unless we're dealing with these legacy admissions, I mean, but that is primarily the thing. But it's that low hanging fruit shit is so real. But anyway, so Robert Wolf is a Harvard professor, economics. When I played a clip where he was talking about the fact that America is an empire in decline, that its brightest days are sort of behind it, and we shouldn't turn to nihilism, right? And I think I didn't know that until I didn't make that connection until I heard that clip, because I felt like that we can feel that stanky breath, right? Like a dying empire. But how do you talk about that without switching nihilism? And it was understanding that England peaked, you know, several decades ago as the superpower of the world. It just sort of means that it's the end of the superpower. But if you really want to know that America is sort of in that place, why do they need Israel so badly? That's the real question. I'm trying, like, while I'm doing this, I keep getting like blasted with the light, and then it gets too dark, and then I try it again. That's just me explaining for those who are watching this on YouTube what the hell's going on, because my arm keeps reaching up and reaching across, trying to find the right light. the fact that America does not see a future where Israel is not helping, is not a crutch, tells you everything you need to know. Everything you need to know. The influence of AIPAC, and that's the other thing I want to add, right? They're bullying the influence of AIPAC alone tells you everything you need to know. And now there's a point I want to like just sort of tee back up. Remember when I said we got to stop saying fuck the Democrats, fuck the Democrats? I really want to popularize that, because that is what enabled the nihilistic carelessness with which we threw Cori Bush and Jamal Bowman away. They were Democrats. They were black and outspoken on Palestine. The thing that everybody was saying that the Democrats needed to be, they did that. And then when AIPAC went after them, nobody was saying shit. And all those naysayers weren't turning their, their crosshairs on AIPAC. Oh, no. They want to wax poetic. Anyway, the unbelievable influence that this entity has. Well, now Jamal Bowman and Cori Bush have a show. I was going to be like, support it, but I was like, I don't really love it. It's not their fault. I'll watch it. I will watch it all the time. But it's just, we need more culture focused shit. And I'm about to, in like a week or two, announce some of the coolest shit ever. Okay. But let me, so, Cori Bush breaks down, and she's so so gangster. But she breaks down, in talking to Jamal Bowman. So, go ahead and watch. Don't listen to me. Go ahead and watch it. I just mean in terms of what we need, in terms of where we're not. Because just before I play it, I want to remind you of this. Charlie Kirk bragged about this today, and I looked. It's a summation of the Media Matters report. I'm just going to read it. It's so annoying, but he's really just repeating what the report gauge, but it just bothers me. So this is what Charlie Kirk said. Finally, somebody on the left is doing the math right. The left isn't just behind in the modern media landscape. They are getting destroyed. Accurate. Media Matters looked at 320 different online shows and found that right-leaning shows are beating left-leaning counterparts nearly 5-1 in followers and subscribers, right? 9 of the top 10 shows are on the right. We already knew that. And incredibly, MMFA's figures don't even include X. That I did not know. But when I looked back at the graphs, I was like, that's right. Where the right is more dominant than ever. That's also very true. America used to have a shared media ecosystem, but the left took it over and purged more and more conservatives until they were nothing but propaganda outlets. That's actually not true at all. Fox News has largely turned hyper-right under Murdoch. But they did invest an unbelievable amount of money into the right-wing propaganda machine and push the Overton window way off to the right. Now the left has forgotten how to compete, and their ideas are further and further out of step with the mainstream. They only know how to deliver scolding, activist-drenched lectures, but the public is tuning them out. That's actually not true. I think that's true on mainstream media. But we're fucking cool as hell. And I think that Bowman and Bush, this little show on, I think it's pronounced ZTO. That's Mehdi Hassan's new media platform. And, I like Mehdi Hassan. But again, he's brash and he's argumentative and he's whip smart. But he's not going to appeal to the population of people that we actually need to appeal to. So I'm so glad we have players out there. But when I look back at the left-leaning shows, right? Hassan on a stream, The Breakfast Club, Trevor Noah, I just realized that there wasn't a woman there. Not one. Not one. And I was like, yeah. Well, we're about to change a lot of that. A lot of that. And no, we're not just going to be talking about politics. We already got that covered over here. No, you're going to be getting some shit. The shit that we need, because attacking this stuff head on, right? Especially when we lose narratives, it's impossible. But when you can just Anyway, you know what? I'll leave that for a little later. But finally, the collaborators are coming out. The collaborators are coming. We are being drawn towards each other, and it is very, very exciting. But anyway, let me play this clip where Cori Bush is sort of pulling back the veil on AIPAC's practices behind the scenes and how they approach, seek to influence and then punish those who don't do what they want.
Yeah.
AIPAC, we're going to tear your kingdom down. And I meant it. And to be clear, I said AIPAC because that's who came from me. AIPAC is the American Israel Public Affairs Committee. And they made a decision that they wanted to target you and I because of our stance, standing up for Palestinians, standing up for the people of Gaza, and standing up for humanity. So let me tell you my introduction to AIPAC. So I was running for office. This was several years before I won. It was just someone in my community coming up to me saying, hey, you know, I want to introduce you to someone and, you know, they want to talk to you and just want to talk to you about, you know, like what's your plan, you know, running for office? What are your priorities? You want to do lunch? Yeah, let's do lunch. Go to lunch. And then there's this person who shows up, you know, and now we're talking about something I didn't know we were talking about. So that happened a few times. And then I remember it got heavy. It turned into, well, if you won't say that you stand 100% with Israel, if you keep talking about Palestinian liberation, then you are against the Jewish people. And I was like, how am I against the Jewish people? I love everybody.
That's right.
I stand up for Jewish people the same way I stand up for Palestinian people. What do you mean? I said, anyway, so, and they took it to totally mean that I was being hateful because I believe in like equality,
Human rights.
I believe in total human rights.
Yeah.
Right before I won, my successor put out this really ugly mailer calling me anti-Semitic, darkened my skin. It was a picture of me and Linda Sarsour, together and just saying that, I was hateful. Yeah. But people were so pissed off about it because they saw it as Islamophobic. And so people poured into my office just saying like, hey, we need to rise together. We need to stand together. And it helped me in my win. So fast forward months later, right before I was about to enter Congress, right before we were about to be sworn in, I got a message from someone in the community who was one of the ones who, let's do this lunch thing. And then I was, bamboozled and hoodwinked by this conversation.
I'm enjoying how black those two lines were. Bamboozled and hoodwinked. That is a little shout out to Malcolm. Malcolm X. I didn't need to say it like that. Here we go. This is where I start to get deranged. Here we go.
Said, okay, so AIPAC said, and I'm like, what the freak is it? Okay, like why is AIPAC? Why are we talking about AIPAC? I don't even know these folks. AIPAC said to tell you that they know you're not going to change your stance. You're not going to change your position. They got it. They just want you to be silent about it. So
bruh, just shut the fuck up about it and just take a beat and think about the fact that people are being systemically removed. They have, in fact, the people who are being targeted, we have very similar documents in this situation. As I have mentioned, I fucking love America. I'm obsessed with America. I love it. We'll have to be strategic, but you make sure that you tell them that I love America. I love it here. I fucking love, I'm a big fan of America. I've got a MAGA hat somewhere because I'm a free speech absolutist. And I like his hair. I admire Donald Trump's hair so much. I think that Elon Musk is a bitch boy, beta cuck, billionaire, sexist. hood rat. Yes, got the call back in. Yes, but no, I just they're fucking awesome.
Just when you go into Congress, just don't talk about it, because if you do, you are going to have a tumultuous entrance into your tenure in Congress.
If you don't do what we want you to do, which either means being an absolutist for Israel or being absolutely silent on Palestine, we're going to make your life as difficult as possible. Just imagine, right? You're Cori Bush. In fact, better yet, imagine you're you, right? You've run a campaign that's honest. You've run a campaign that relied on groundswell, right? It was several black activists, and black activist groups that were directly, that came right from, right, Ferguson, BLM, that aided Cori Bush's campaign run. So she has a responsibility to her constituents. So she's gone through all that. Now she's got to figure out how to be a member of Congress, how to adjust to it. Got to figure out the money side of things, everything. And while you're doing that, while you're trying to figure out this whole new world, you have got a super PAC threatening you like they're the fucking mob. That's mob language. I'm waiting for fucking Gandolfini to come around the corner. You motherfucker, you motherfucker. I will not accept Italian slander these days. Absolutely fucking not. This is, they were fucking honest about being gangsters. This is some other shit.
Wow.
And my response was, have we met?
Mm-hmm.
You don't scare me.
Yeah.
If those tanks...
we're reaching the black part of the show. Who heard that? Mm-hmm. See what happens? You see what happens? The code switching happens so fast. I got these two black people talking to each other, and I'm like, mm-hmm. It's out of control.
Couldn't scare me if the rubber bullets and real bullets and the dogs couldn't scare me. You think you can?
Yeah.
So
I don't even know y'all, dog.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And no trips, offering me trips and all of that. If I want to take a trip, I'll take a trip.
Yeah.
Trying that right there, trying to buy loyalty. We can, if you do what we want you to do, we will support your campaign. We will give you money. We'll bankroll you on some level. And that's what they do. They bankroll the candidates they like and they want. That's what they did with Wesley Bell. Anybody, as long as you toe the fucking line for Israel in US Congress, you will have an easy ride.
I don't need a propaganda trip. I don't need to be, I just like, if you're telling me, hey, we love them the same way we love us and we want to work together, then that's the conversation I want to have. But when you say I should be this and they are this, then I have a problem with that, because to me, what I hear is the same thing that happened to black folks for such a long time. I feel my ancestors rising up.
Yeah, we hear white supremacy.
Yeah, we hear white supremacy.
Yeah, when you talk like that, us versus them,
that's
we
it
absolutely hear white supremacy.
So after my community member, let me know that I would have this, this horrible entrance to Congress if I didn't stay silent. Of course I didn't stay silent. I was not going to do that. The deceit was so unbelievable, like you spoke about in your race. That thing happened in my race, darkening my skin on mailers and, just the lies.
They actually did. I saw that. And so, to understand the mechanisms of racism that well, right? If we darken her skin, she'll look dirty. She'll look like a villain. No one will want to support her. No one will want to run. In order for you to understand that as a tactic, it means that you've used that tactic multiple times. It's now part of your fucking brand book, essentially, right? This is how we take down a female candidate. This is how we take down a black candidate. This is how we take down a black female candidate. This is how we take down a black male candidate. This is how we take down this. This is how we take down that. Anybody that doesn't toe the line. I mean, you want to talk about bullying. These institutions, these post-secondary institutions, these elite institutions are being held by the balls by the Trump administration, who's being held by the balls by Israel and the Zionist lobbies, powerful Zionist lobbies like AIPAC, which, you know, in this case, I will say Zionist lobbies, but as you know, I believe these are entities of Jewish extremism. We have Islamic extremism. We have Christian fundamentalism, Christian extremism. We are not exempt. I think I'm no longer interested in the term Zionist, as you know, because it invites a debate about Jewish people needing a place of safety. Everybody can desire a place of safety, but what Israel shows in real time is how nation state, nationhood exacerbates extremism exponentially. That's what it shows us.
My thing is this. If you are so right in what you believe, if you are so right in who you are, if you believe that this other person is better, that they can do a greater job, if you believe that, then you should have been able to show that. But instead, you had to lie on me. You had to use disinformation. You had to use misinformation. They had to do all of those things in order to win. You had to put so much money to cover the lies.
They had to put so much money to cover the lies. And, you know, you might think to yourself, well, this is pretty rough. But as long as you don't speak out against Israel, you're not going to get swept up in this mass deportation campaign. Not accurate. Not accurate. So I thought, okay, when I read this story, I thought it was not real. I genuinely was like, you read the words Canadian American Pie actress and you're like, oh, okay, this is one of these stories on, Twitter that is just a collection of like silly words, just silly words, right? Like poop sock, which is a real thing. This is so fucking gross. This is a moment I'm hesitating. I'm like, do I even burden you with this information now that we're here? So I listed a bunch of streamers yesterday and really just right-wing shows. And one of them was a streamer named Asmongold, right? What I didn't mention. So again, this is a guy who is one of the largest streamers in America and, has pretty... No, right politics, very right politics, very right wing. He's filthy. And I'm not, I don't even want, it's not a secret. It's part of his brand, and I'm not talking about dirt on the floor. I'm talking about overrun with roaches because he doesn't clean. Okay. The things I'm going to say, the reason why the word poop sock exists on the internet is because he was gaming and he was too lazy to get up and he took a shit in a sock in his. I'm not joking. His gums are really gross because he doesn't clean himself or brush his teeth, and so he will at times just like rub his gums and they're bloody, and then he will wipe that on the wall. This is who exists in the manosphere. Y'all, like, I didn't even want to talk about it. I feel so fucking gross right now having brought that up. This is very much a part of the culture. And so you'll notice all throughout, the manosphere, right? The more, we get into it, the more clips I play. I was going to play some clips for you. I was like, I think you've been screamed at enough. But their nihilism on that side but it's just, it's a lot. It's a fucking lot. Anyway, let me go back to this story. So, Canadian American Pie actress Jasmine Mooney. This actually happened. She's a Canadian and an actor, and she came over to LA, right? It's because that's what they do. They come here and they do auditions or whatever, and then they go back to where they live. Hopefully, they hear back, whatever the case may be. So, Jasmine Mooney was literally detained by Donald Trump's ICE agents at the U.S.-Mexico border. So this white woman gets swept up with everybody else because of the way that this government is advising and, dictating how ICE operates, right? She was jailed for 12 days for no fucking reason, and she had no idea why. And I came across this story And again, I was like, is this can't be real. But then I saw a plea by her parents to get her home. And then I was like, no, this might actually be an actual fucking story. So during that 12-day stint, right? So here she is. She's just expecting to just go across the U.S.-Mexico border. She's jailed for 12 days. She has no idea why. She's sleeping on concrete floors, right? And similar to how Khalil was treated, it was just, you were just kidnapped. You were swept away. And I now have, like a plan in the event that happens to me. I had to make a plan. And I don't have an inflated sense of importance, and I think I have to be careful about how I talk about things. But I be yapping. Y'all know I be yapping, and I'm not unknown to this country that I love very much. So ICE agents told her when she was like, "Why is this happening to me?" That she's just being treated in accordance with the Trump administration's dictates. So she was detained by ICE. She was just attempting to renew her visa. That was it. So according to her, after returning home from LA, she discovered her visa had been revoked, preventing her from boarding a flight. So these things are just happening randomly, arbitrarily. Suddenly, you are in a very precarious situation where you could be disappeared. So to resolve the issue, she went directly to the border, right? So she's like, oh, okay, well, this is weird, but I'll just go to the border because she can't address it in the airport, right? So she said, I'm just going to go to the border to resolve the issue. That is how a rational person might have thought of that, right? Just to get it renewed. She's like, I got to go there. But they detained her. They said she lacked proper documentation to legally stay in the U.S., and then they put her in jail cells for 12 days. So here's a very quick clip on her talking about her experience to CTV. Dude, I feel nostalgia for seeing CTV 100%. 100%.
I can't even process what just happened because there was no heads up. Next thing you know, I'm taken and for 2 weeks haven't been told anything, moved in different cells, sleeping on cement, sleeping in different jail cells. Like it just, nothing makes sense to me, and I'm still trying to process the entire situation.
Mooney was transported from Arizona to San Diego before returning to Canada.
So look, did you get that? Arizona, San Diego, and when I saw the pleas from her parents, they were saying she was just being moved all over the place. She's just being moved all over the place, all because she was like, "Hey, there's a problem. My visa's been revoked in travel. Okay, cool. I'll just go renew it." And she's an actor. She travels a lot. She's Canadian. This is a person who was like, okay, this should be a fairly easy to resolve situation. Not the case. Not today.
She didn't speculate if her detainment was related to the trade war between Canada and
they gave that girl a mugshot.
The U.S., but BC Premier David Eby said last week that the story reinforces the anxiety many Canadians are feeling about the strained relationship between our two countries.
I can't even.
Well, strained relationship is a really polite way of saying that. I also just took a screenshot from an article just to further illustrate this, because these stories are happening everywhere. Julio Noriega, 54, a U.S. citizen, who, according to court documents, was arrested, handcuffed, and spent most of the night at an ICE processing center in suburban Broadview. He was never questioned about his citizenship and was only released after agents looked at his ID. So yeah, they're also sweeping up any brown people. If you got tats, too bad. Oh well. I was born in Chicago, Illinois, and I'm a United States citizen, Noriega said in a statement, adding that on January 31st, after buying pizza in Berwyn, he was surrounded by ICE agents and arrested. Officers took away his wallet, which had his ID and social security card. They then are you supposed to walk around with that? Nobody answer that here. Just tell me somewhere else. Aren't you supposed to know? I think it's good. It's fine that he had it. I was like, am I not doing it right? They then handcuffed me and pushed me into a white van where other people were handcuffed as well. If you want, you can go ahead and read another case, Abel Orozco Ortega, right? He was detained outside of his home in suburban, I think, Lyons? Is that how you pronounce that word? Lyons, without a warrant. These stories are happening everywhere. We knew this was going to be bad. We knew, right? It's just very fast and very aggressive and very all at once. But here's the thing. That culture shift that's coming, and it's coming, it's going to be fucking massive. It's going to be massive. Think about how uncool we became, right? Like we kind of just got absorbed into the status quo. Everybody had just enough, so we didn't have to look at things as much anymore. And that's you're not who I'm talking about. Like I already know. Some of you are like, no. But you know what I mean, right? A left will actualize out of this, a proper one, but also the culture will course correct because the status quo is so far to the right now, and I mean even the fact that like Bill Burr. Do you remember I told you comedies like Ground Zero? Yeah, they hate Bill Burr right now. They fucking hate Bill Burr. Bill Burr was the comedian of the white everyman, and I love him. I love him. I love Burr because he's no nonsense, but he also just says what he feels, and he's got a lot of grievances, right? So his grievances typically focus on women and dumb white bros, but mostly women. And he toes the line, like he walks this line, not toes the line. He walks this line, a very careful line, between his commentary and observational comedy and his interactions with women, and just misogyny. He has some sexist views, but never goes so far. They're often couched in things like, everything that I read, everything that I see, all the research out there, every test, it all says women are smarter. And then he'll say, so how the fuck are you letting these dumb fucks run the country? So it's always more intelligent. It seems they're turning on Bill Burr. The fact that Bill Burr is now, that guy. Before him, Anthony Jeselnik, same thing. Anthony Jeselnik tells jokes in a very specific way because he hates kids. So they're largely, child, abuse jokes, whatever, but they're all 100% fabricated. So everybody's made up. Every other joke is my uncle, my stepfather, my this, that. It's, every single joke is made up. There he is, and he's talking about Joe Rogan. He's got a joke about trans women that really is putting the lens back on society. These things might not seem like much, but they're the earliest stages, because as I told you, right, I got into comedy. I crushed tonight, by the way. But I got into comedy because I noticed that was one of the first places that the culture shift happens, but also where the cultural war takes place. It also lends to a certain kind of legibility, and that's always good. It's always good. But we do need to take care of where we are right now, right? I'm not just going to, everybody just hold your breath. Everybody just hold your breath. There's the Financial Times. They pulled together some data that came from Gallup. So they did a survey, right? U.S. respondents aged 15 to 29. Oh, there's Sula. She's snoring. She just looked at me, and she's on the bed. She's got her blanket on the bed, but she's giving me that look like, shut the fuck up. It's late. I think she's had it with me, guys. I'm going to wrap Sula. I'm sorry. No. She woke up out of her slumber and is staring at me right now. I'm sorry. Give me a few more minutes. Okay, honey? And that angel baby. Anyway, 15 to 29, right? And it compares, how young people were feeling back in the day from 2010 to 2024, right? How are young people feeling? 2010 to 2024, age 15 to 29. So, confidence in the judicial system. I tried to put this graph up on the OBS screen. It's you can't even make it out. I think they use really light font or something. But this is searchable. It's on the Financial Times. Views of young people in the U.S. on many aspects of politics, society, and well-being have deteriorated. So, confidence in the judicial system was, upwards of 60%. Now it's way down in the 40s, maybe even the 30s. Good, affordable housing in the city were upwards of 60%. Now we're down way below the 40s. Confidence in national government, slightly above 50%. Now down towards 30%. Satisfaction with freedom in your life. In 2010, it was just shy of 90%. I'm also like, what was happening here in 2010? Because I fucking missed out. Because, but yeah, satisfaction with freedom in your life, close to 90%. In 2024, it's going down just shy of 70. Expectations of life in 5 years' time, 0 to 10. In 2010, it was around 8.5. So where people were thriving. In 2024, it's sub 8. Experienced stress yesterday. Just experience stress, right? So in 2010, it was sub 50%. So less than 50% of people had experienced stress yesterday. Today, in 2024, it's upwards of 60%. So why this is important is it is important, right? How we're feeling and how younger people are feeling, whatever. But B, it also demonstrates where confidence building can happen and where we need to speak to. Like for me, for example, when I'm reading confidence in the judicial system, we're at a stage where the government right now, is trying to figure out how much they can get away with. Right? I had to just look at Sula again because she snorted. I don't know if I think the mic is too good. You won't pick up on it, but she's really giving me a lot of attitude right now. She's so lucky. She's so lucky. She's pretty and she's my little smooshy face Boo Bear, little princess. But anyway, the man voice. I'm talking about the man stuff. But confidence in the judicial system is very low. But the fight right now is a legal one. So a federal judge stopped, a mass deportation of like 130 something, I barely know anything about these folks. He just kind of tried to throw them out. So there's so many deportation flights that are happening, but a judge told Trump to halt those deportation flights. The thing is, they went ahead anyway. So this isn't about building up their confidence. It's about being able to expound upon where the weaknesses are and then who the heroes are. Because the judge is halting them, but the government is refusing to obey. And so it's their new attempt to test the court's limits. You'll notice, or hopefully you don't, that's my job, Elon Musk will, several times a week, will put some new random judge in the crosshairs as somebody standing in the way of justice or whatever bullshit. But it's just because a judge is doing their fucking job, right? So on Saturday, Trump officials, this is on Vox, right? And Trump has openly defined the court. So the question is what can be done about that? But on Saturday, Trump officials attempted to rapidly deport. So they're trying to do it as quickly as possible before these judges couldn't even become aware of it. That means that you have a series of lawyers and advocates and judges that are working together against the Trump administration. That's significant, right? It's significant. Everywhere you look, there are people, there are the helpers, and there are people who are fighting. There's probably more than a couple legal experts, et cetera, who listen to the show, but I'm not one of these people. To me, I'm paying very close attention because it really is an indicator of when our time is coming, right? Anyway, they tried to rapidly deport a bunch of people. They said were Venezuelan gang members to El Salvador. They said that. There's no proof on that, right? It's just a new and initially secret legal rationale. So they didn't disclose their rationale to the public. They're just like trying to exploit this, right? Before progressive activists could sue and judges could stop them. So there are people who are fighting tooth and nail to stop this from happening. However, the activists did sue, which should have halted it, and deportation flights were either in the air or about to leave. So a judge issued an order to stop them. The administration ignored the judge's order and refused to turn around or halt the flights. Remember how we've been saying fascist, 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 fascist? All correct, which handed a reported 261 immigrants into Salvadoran custody. Some of these flights were forced to turn around. So, on Vox, I was like really into this, and then, they do their 1, 2, 3 most popular, whatever. And the third one down, I just saw this and I was like, it just stunned me. Think twice before you smear beef tallow and salmon sperm on your face. Oh my God. Think twice before you smear beef tallow and salmon sperm on your face. We're talking about something serious, Janaya. Finish it, and then you can click on the link, and then you can read it. We'll read it together. Okay. Trump officials, blah, 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 they cited all these reasons for letting the deportations proceed. And one, of course, is that they were already departed U.S. territory. But what they're trying to exploit, there's an obscure, rarely used law that they're all trying to exploit right now, which is the Alien Enemies Act, right? Unreviewable by the federal courts. So they're breaking precedent in every way imaginable. You can find in this article on Vox, there's just a bunch of just deportation activists, anti-deportation activists and progressives. They're fighting tooth and nail, but this administration just does not give a fuck. That's fascism. But every effort to stop them must be exploited. Make it as difficult as possible to do even the smallest things. Bad luck Chuck didn't get the fucking memo. Okay, no, this is This is not an article on why people are using it so much as it is that it's bad for the environment and it's killing innocent creatures, which I totally agree with. Okay. Anyway, all right. Sula is pissed, and in the interest of transparency and my gratitude and I read every comment, and I'm reading all the comments. It makes me feel really close in community, and I'm as I mentioned, I'm gonna start responding to them. I end up having a conversation with you all in my head, but in light of the power of transparency and just keeping you informed. One, I am really excited about some of these things coming down the pipe. I mean, I'm really, really excited. But in terms of the show, that one of the key things is a producer with a very specific job. One of the things I have to do is be a whore on social media, not necessarily with the nipples out all the time, but just a content factory. It's just, I got to practice. I put in the rounds because it's just like another job to add onto the job. I'm loving the hustle. I really am. But for the next little while, and when I say little while, I mean pretty much just through the end of the week, because I'm interviewing a clipper tomorrow. There is not going to be questions. I mean, if you guys email them direct, that's totally fine. I just, I can't solicit at this particular moment. Just because I got to lock in on making sure that the quality of the show stays up to par, and then also expand, because like I said, some cool shit is coming. I can't talk about it yet because I got to sit down with a couple other folks, but I'm really excited on the culture work that we're all going to do together. I'm really, really excited. Terribly excited. We're going to outlast these people. We're going to outlast them. I did have this little thing on boundaries I wanted to leave on. Just a thought. sometimes I get too chatty at the end of these fucking episodes. Oh wait, there is one ask in the interest of transparency and all this other stuff. There's a very small ask. I'm still in phase 1, and that means I haven't done a lot of promotion on the show. It's been very organic, and the indicators are very good. But on things like YouTube, they want you to suffer first. So I have to hit a certain threshold in order to be a creator on YouTube. And that will open up new tools and resources that I can use in app, which I can't yet because you have to reach 4,000 hours of watch time and then 1,000 subscribers. So I am just shy of the 1,000 right now I think I'm at like 980. So it's okay if you guys don't want to, be on YouTube like that because it doesn't come natural, which I totally get. If a couple of you don't mind just jumping over there and maybe helping tip me over the 1,000 mark, because we're already on track to hit the 4,000 watched hours. Soon. Who is the we? Right? Anyway, but all of us, we're about to, hit that, but they make you suffer, but it will really help, once you sort of get in the creator lane, the algorithm kind of shows you a little bit more love, but it's the tools. It's mainly the tools that I want access to. So if that's not a big deal for a couple of you, that would help a lot, because, they really put you through the ringer. But should I say, I'll save the boundaries thing for tomorrow. Because I have a lot of thoughts. On it. And it's the way that the term boundaries are being used right now, and what it's, okay, I'll whet your appetite a bit, I hope. I don't have any, this is not I don't have a position that is against boundaries, right? The way that we're using them, when you say this is a boundary for me, whatever. But what I've discovered is, and if they're working for you, that's incredible. This might not be for you, although it will still be interesting to you. Are they being used? I have found that boundaries today, especially with America's sort of obsession, the hyper individualism that it sort of fosters and foments in our society, that's very much about, it creates more emotional distance, and boundaries were, navigating the public, they're great, but the boundaries were supposed to bring you closer together emotionally, not drive you further apart. And it's like, is the way that we're using them bringing us closer together? Is it creating more emotional distance, right? Does it prioritize your needs in a moment when you assert it, despite what the context was previously? I've realized, I don't think the way that I've experienced it, and the way that it's, boundaries to me are about creating drawing, that, no, I'm getting too much into it. But anyway, it's supposed to, is the person or the people that you're stating the boundary to, are they on the inside of that boundary, or are they on the outside? Because if they're on the outside, I don't think that it's doing the thing that it's supposed to be doing. I don't think it's creating understanding in the way that it's supposed to. And I think it actually ends up, for some people, isolating us even further. In the interest of, quote, protecting our peace. I think we already have antisocial tendencies. I think we're developing a greater intolerance for community, right? You're not exactly what I want, or you're not doing what I want you to do, or you're not saying, and that negotiation, that ability to sort of compromise, and the ability to make requests rather than assert this very conclusive, finite thing. And when I think about boundaries, the first thing I think about, of course, is countries. Okay, I'm doing the thing I'm not supposed to be doing, which is talking about it. Okay, I'll open it up with tomorrow, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I know it was like more traditional, but also, we could use a little more levity too. We could definitely use a little more. It's a weird time. It's a hard time, when we're sitting here and once again we're sort of holding as close to our hearts as possible the additional death count of Palestinians and Palestinian people. while fascists try to run the country into the ground and extract every single thing they can from it, and still we're here, and still dream your dreams, because we were here before. We're going to be here after. Who we are in these moments and in these times will determine who we are, the day after tomorrow, a year after tomorrow, 25 years after tomorrow, but I'm taking a lot of strength from you all. I'm taking a lot of cues from you. I got a lot of encouragement today. A push to be more transparent and more vulnerable. It brings you all into the process more. And that makes me really happy. It's a little bit uncomfortable because I'm a control freak. But sometimes I get in my own way. When you control and you just squeeze so tight and that nothing gets through. So I do want us to do this together, and I can't wait. Give me the week. So be a bit bumpy. Got to do some interviews and got to get the second installment of things packed up in the house so that it can be staged and fucking all that good stuff. But I'm so excited. I'm so excited because I'm going to say something that is just the truth, and it's not at all. It's not a put down. This is what I'm excited about. I'm sick and tired of us being fucking irrelevant. I really am. I looked at that list of shows, and I'm like, most of them fucking suck, or they're what you'd expect. We have always been the cultural creators. Women have always fucking been the most gangster people. They're running to romantasy, and honestly, the girls are horny and romantic, and I love fantasy, so I get it. I get it. Give you some sexy trolls and some dragons who are hung as fuck. We got to get the girls back. But man, when I tell you about these fucking ideas, dude. I hope I'm getting, I hope I'm squeezing the lime a little bit. That's not a saying. All right, it's time to fucking go. Here we go again, All right. I just want to say thank you so much for listening to Dark Woke. It means the world to me. The show really is a labor of love. We got new episodes dropping everywhere, available everywhere podcasts are. If you love the show, please feel free to support it as best you can. We're at Patreon/DarkWoke. Don't forget, I want to hear from you. Drop your voice note questions to darkwokejfk@gmail.com. Just want to send you all some love. This is your time, not just their time. Your time, our time. So shout out to you, the listeners that make it all possible. Love you. Peace.